Hey, Armand here with your forecast for the week of May 20th, 2024. Now, if you feel that you missed out on the excitement of the weekend of the 18th and 19th, when we had Venus conjunct Uranus and the Sun conjunct Jupiter at the same time in Taurus, Venus's home sign. If you missed out on that and you think, well, that's it, no Christmas in May for me, you got good news ahead because this week is probably it's a bigger week. It's certainly a busier week in the sky. Then I'm expected to be pretty busy down here as well. So this is another really exciting, upbeat kind of week. We should probably, I'm hesitating a little bit because I know that, the celestial energy inflates everyone, not just reasonable minded people like yourself, but more or less, if you keep a positive attitude, you should really be able to get quite a bit out of this coming week. So what do we have going on? Well, we start out. We have to realize, okay, we're coming off of this high of the Sun conjunct Jupiter, right? This is a big energy, right? 28 degrees of Taurus, which means that the Sun goes on to leave Taurus and comes into Gemini on the 20th. So now we're really beginning Gemini season, as we sometimes call it. And in fact, this is a very Gemini kind of week. So we're going to see a lot of that energy, a lot of energy of the twins coming in this week. So we're talking about that kind of the balance. Well, that's a Libra kind of thing, is to have balance, but two sides of things. Could do this, could do that, go this way, go that way. Why not go both? When you get to a fork in the road, take it, right? So that is the beginning thing of the week. The Sun goes into Gemini. Well, that happens every year. It's not so exciting. And then we get to midweek, because on the 23rd, which by my calculation should be Thursday, we have another one of these really gigantic days. First of all, we have Venus meeting with Jupiter. Now, every year these two planets conjoin, but it's always a good day, right? Because Venus, the planet of love, relationships, socializing, values, valuables, aesthetics, and Jupiter, the great expander, the big picture planet, and they get along so well together. They are joining up, and they're joining up in Venus's home sign of Taurus. So it's like she's hosting the party. But wait, there's more. She's hosting the party at 29 degrees of the sign. That's the very end of the sign, right before she leaves to go, right before they both leave to go into Gemini. You see Gemini season. You see what I'm saying here? So Venus together with Jupiter, it is great for everything. It is great for, well, all of those Venusian things that I mentioned. It's good for all of them. There's a nice feel to it. There's a kind of, it's Taurus, so that, sensuality, it's about the physical world, not the Libran side of Venus, which is more about graciousness. This is a little bit more like you can go ahead and eat with your fingers. You don't have to worry about which fork to use, type of thing. The only caveat I would put on this is that at the very end of Taurus, these two planets get together, excess, right? That's the thing, you spend a little too much time at the dessert bar, or the bar. A little bit too much. It's a little over the top. All right, but you could probably handle that just fine, right? You handle that just fine. But what's the next thing that happened? Well, not the next thing. It's the same time. At the same time, we are at the Sagittarius full moon. So the Thursday, we have this wonderful meeting between Venus and Jupiter at the full moon. So we get all of that full moon energy. Some would say lunacy. We get that full moon lunacy there. And it just injects more energy into this otherwise wonderful aspect. So, Wednesday, as these things build, Thursday, as they're exact, and certainly Friday, as we go forward. And the moon will stay in Sagittarius, upbeat, fun, loving Sagittarius all the way through Friday and Friday night. just suggesting that Friday night might be the more fun night for the weekend. Well, I think Thursday would be a fine, get a good early start on things, and midweek ought to be fine too. So we get all of this energy there. Now, the full moon, right? We have the sun in Gemini, and it is illuminating the Sagittarian moon. And what that's doing is giving us a little sense of how to, I mean, to the extent that full moons give us a sense of anything as opposed to just acting, it gives us a little sense of the balance between the Gemini energy and the Sagittarius energy. Why is that important? It's important because Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, goes into Gemini on the 25th, which would be Saturday. So this is a kind, and you should watch the video right here on the channel. You should watch the video about Jupiter in Gemini and see what's going on for your sign, your ascendant sign, your sun sign, and all that. But that aside, the energy of Jupiter in Gemini, very much about the enchantment of the everyday, right? This is, we were enchanting everyday life. And this full moon, in a way, is showing us a little bit about how to do that. It's a nice herald, let's call it, for Jupiter going into Gemini. So that's great. Now, Venus goes into Gemini. Remember, they met together, and Venus actually moves faster. She'll get in there before Jupiter. Venus goes into Gemini, and this changes a little bit our socialization vibe. It brings more of that Gemini energy. For those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, heaven forfend, I should offend the Australians. Um, for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, this is the last month of summer, right? The Gemini month. The sun is in Gemini. Venus is in Gemini. Jupiter, for the first time in 12 years, is in Gemini. We have a lot of Gemini energy. And so we're getting a good start on it, right? This is it's all sort of arriving at once. Venus in Gemini, very much about, it's one of the, when Venus is in the air signs, very much about socializing. It's okay for one-on-one relationships and dating and stuff like that. But it's kind of a light vibe, Lite, light vibe. It's not that kind of real serious stuff. It's more about, oh, I don't know, going downtown to the flea market, or, going downtown to the farmer's market, or, the little craft fair. That would be very appropriate. Anyway, Venus in Gemini, it's more about socializing. You can get out and, meet the neighbors that you haven't seen in 6 months. It's about connecting with your local community, the town, the folks that are around you, the neighborhood. You can walk around again without being all bundled up, and you can start to, you can enjoy it. That's the energy of Venus in Gemini. Great for socializing, brunch with friends, and stuff like that. That's very much the feel that we're getting, and it really amplifies the Gemini energy. What's the first thing? What is the very first thing that we get when Venus goes into Gemini? She gets a trine from Pluto in Aquarius. Now, trines are easy, and these are air signs, so we're looking at a pretty good connection between Pluto and Venus. I would say that this has a little bit to do with putting our collective values, or whatever values you have in the collective, to some use. And that suggests that some of that going out and socializing might be for a good cause, something that you really care about, something that you're interested in, something that you think is important, right? So we're getting that Plutonian energy. It's like, well, you can go and have fun, but maybe we'll make some little purpose to this, right? Jupiter's first aspect when he gets into Gemini is also a trine from Pluto, but we'll talk about that in next week's forecast. So you think, wow, that's a lot, and it's all kind of good news. And then on the 26th, that's Sunday, the 26th, we have Mars going over the degree of the April 8th eclipse. Now, if you remember, if you've been watching, the Solar eclipse on April 8th. Beautiful up in Plattsburgh, New York. I'll tell you what. That eclipse is a new moon, right? It seeds things. It seeds things. And then you need a trigger. Now, Mercury's gone over that degree twice. I mean, things are the way they are, you know. That's things are the way they are. I didn't notice anything that dramatic because Mercury went over the eclipse degree. And I'm kind of hoping that I don't notice anything dramatic as Mars goes over the eclipse degree on Sunday, the 26th. This is Memorial Day weekend in the US, so keep that in mind. Obviously, things are really reaching a state of high frenetic energy in the collective. Even without the full moon and stuff like that. And Mars in Aries, a very active, somewhat impulsive sign. Not for people that are Aries. You guys are just as calm as a placid lake. Um, but it is a fairly impulsive, it's very action-oriented sign. Mars, the cosmic warrior in his home sign going over the eclipse degree, is more likely to trigger the eclipse than Mercury was. Not that Mercury isn't a powerful trigger for an eclipse, because Mercury is. So we'll have to see what happens. With any luck, nothing. Let's hope that the astrology is such that everything kind of falls flat and then nothing really much happened. Maybe there was like a really exciting sporting event or something along those lines. That's what I'm rooting for. Anyways, we're gonna take up the end of May and the beginning of June in next week's forecast. So I will see you then. If you like and subscribe, well, if you subscribe, you'll get that in the inbox. And go look at the Jupiter thing. If you've been watching me for this long for this week's forecast, you should just go watch the Jupiter and Gemini thing. I mean, after all you need to do is click on the channel and there you go. All right, I'll see you guys soon.